So this is my CB setup. I got my 3 radios here. This one is my Cobra 29 LT Camo Edition. Pushes out 4 watts of power. This is my Uniden PC68XL. Is pushing 8 watts of power. But right now it's pushing roughly about 4 to 6. And then my Stryker is multiple different powers. I'll go into that a little bit later. Now, this here is a 10 meter amateur radio. So 10 meter covers the frequencies of 28 megahertz to 30 megahertz, or we're just under 30 megahertz. Now the CB band, which I like, is in 11 meter band, which is 26 and 27 megahertz. So this unit in here goes on 27 megahertz. This Cobra is 27 megahertz, and this radio is 28 to 30 megahertz. So to get the Strykers to go on 11 meter, you have to do a conversion modification, which is going to open up the 27 megahertz band and open up the HF mode in the radio. Now to do that, you're going to have to do some tweaks. Now if we turn on the power supply, now let's go into the Cobra. So if we go down to channel 1, you see on channel 1 it's a frequency of 26.965 megahertz. So let's go ahead and turn that bad boy off. Now, I'm turn on the Stryker. Now we are in AM band. And now we are on 28.0900. Go channel 1. And we're at 28 megahertz flat. Now if we go in this option right here, it's a band VFO. If you go to band, we can go to the other frequencies. Now if we go into band 2, click it over to the center, we can go through band 2. And it's just a different part of the frequency band for 28 megahertz. And if you go through all the bands, like band 3, 28.4, 28.6 is band 4. Keep that in mind. Band 4 is 28.6. After the modification, band 4 is going to be 26 and 27 megahertz. And then if we continue, band 5 got 28.8, 29, band 6 is 29.2, and then band 10 is 29.62. Go into the band, and we go to channel 7, which is the highest, you got 29.68. So we're going to go to band 1. I'm going to turn off the radio. And now we are going to do the conversion. So we're going to undo the wire. Now I've already done the conversion, but I have not done the settings to it. I'm going to show y'all what you do. Now I know some of y'all out there are way better at soldering than I am, and that's totally okay. Turn power supply off. Alright, now the power supply is off. We are going to unplug the back of the radio, which on these Strykers are a pain in the butt sometimes. Okay. Now, usually on CB radios, let's get the light on over here. Alright, so usually on CB radios, you're going to flip it upside down and you're going to work on the bottom. So the top of the motherboard is actually on the bottom of the radio. So we are going to work on the top because it makes it a whole lot easier. So you're going to need a soldering iron and a little itty bitty wire. I'm not talking about big or anything, I mean itty bitty wire. Okay, so first you're going to take off the screws that are on your top. There's 2 on each side. Now these screws are very small. I've already lost one. So when you take them out, be very careful and put them on a shelf that you're not going to lose it. Now on the board, you take that little wire and you solder it in between 3 contacts. So if your 3 contacts, which we'll label them 1, 2, 3. The bottom contact is 1, middle contact is 2, top contact is 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to solder that wire onto contact 3, which is the top one, and then you're going to solder the other side to it to contact number 1. And then contact number 2 in the middle is going to be bare. You don't want any of the wire touching contact number 2. That's what caused me issues yesterday. So now okay. So now we're going to take the top off, and the easiest way I know to do this is pull it up a little bit on the back. And the speaker is not attached to this one. It's always attached to the bottom, so you can just flip this guy over. Now, this is some of the motherboard here. Now, this is the board. Technically the bottom of the board of the Stryker. The top of the board is actually on the other side, which is the bottom of the radio. Now, let me see here, get something. What can I use? Okay, so we got contact 1, contact 2, and contact 3. It's a very poorly soldered job, but you will solder a little wire in between 1 and 3. And it's right by this black pad. So that is already done. So after you solder that, you're going to get your top. And you put that guy back on. Angle it. Angle the back of yours up. Slide in the front of it. And then push down. I would put the screws in. So after the conversion, and you solder between pad 1 and 3, you are going to turn on the radio, and it's going to be normal, just like I showed you in the beginning of the video. It's going to give you only 28 to 29 megahertz. There's one step you have to do to actually open up 27 megahertz. You're gonna have to open up the manufacturer menu, and you're going to want to turn it into HF mode, because when the Stryker 955s and the 655s come in the box, they come under ham mode, because this is a ham radio. But I just converted it to be a CB radio as well. So I got two radios in one box, basically. Alright. So now we're gonna get the power wire. Okay. Plug this bad boy in. Okay. Guy there. Okay. So we got that. Now we're going to screw in the antenna wire for the Stryker. And this antenna wire right here goes to the Cobra, and this antenna right here goes to the actual antenna. Okay, now so we turn on the power supply. Now when we turn it on, remember it's in a ham mode. Because if you go through the bands, we got nothing and 27 megahertz. So we go to band 1, select band 1, and we're going to turn off the radio. And then we're going to hold function and color at the same time. And then you turn on the radio. And it goes into ham mode. Let go of the buttons. This is the manufacturer menu. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the channel knob and you're going to move it over to HF mode. And then you're going to simply turn off the radio. And you turn it back on. And now this is in ham mode, or HF mode.